Israel's strike on Iran was a 1-minute to midnight action to head off the annihilation of the Jewish state and prevent another Holocaust. Here is why I say this. International Atomic Energy Agency reports from late May and early June show that the Iranian regime had enriched sufficient uranium to construct several nuclear bombs and had conducted implosion tests that served no purpose other than developing a nuclear bomb. According to one of the reports, the International Atomic Energy Agency expressed serious concern regarding the rapid accumulation of highly enriched uranium by Iran, the only state without nuclear weapons that is producing such material. According to experts, Iran has enough 60% enriched uranium to construct up to 10 nuclear bombs within weeks, given that it is a very short step to move from 60% to weapons-grade 90% enriched uranium. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran has in addition conducted implosion tests that are used to perfect the detonation process of conventional explosives used in triggering a nuclear bomb. According to the Institute for Science and International Security, Iran was engaged in experiments in preparation for what is commonly called a cold test of a nuclear weapon, which is the final test of a nuclear weapons implosion development program. After a successful cold test, the next step is building the nuclear weapon itself. The facts therefore indicate that Iran was just weeks away from possessing nuclear weapons. The leadership of the Iranian regime is on record that it intends to wipe out the Jewish state. Here is just one of the many blood-curdling statements of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He said, "The Zionist regime in this region is truly a cancerous tumor, and it must be cut and shall be cut. It is a plague for the world of Islam. This barbaric and wolf-like regime of Israel, which spares no crime, has no cure but to be annihilated." And here is one of the many statements of Major General Hussein Salami, commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, who was killed in last week's daring operation. He said, "This sinister regime of Israel must be eliminated from the geographies of the world." There can be no doubt Iran's intent to exterminate the Jewish people has been made clear in word and in deed. The Islamic Republic emblazons "Death to Israel, death to America" on banners, in official processions, displays and flight tests ballistic missiles with genocidal slogans against Israel inscribed in Hebrew. Hence, IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir was right when he told Israel's political leaders a few days ago, "The operation in Iran is an operation to defend the existence of the Jewish people. History will not forgive us if we do not act now. This is the last opportunity." For Israel, this war against Iran is a fight for survival, to stop its annihilation, to stop another Holocaust. Despite the imminent danger, the United States and Israel had been prepared to pursue final negotiations with Iran. In April, President Trump offered the Iranians a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. But the opportunity was rejected by Tehran, which thought it could string the West along and develop its weapon, and that 60-day period came and went with zero progress in the talks. The Israeli strike came on day 62 of that negotiations window. Had Iran been able to develop a nuclear bomb and announce it via a successful test, it would have been too late to launch a preemptive strike. The stakes would have been too high, and Iran would have gained the leverage to completely shift the balance of power both in the Middle East and globally. Israel's actions have prevented that outcome, not only for itself, but for all Jews and for the free world. Westerners must not forget the jihadist chant, "First Saturday, then Sunday." Had Israel been annihilated in a nuclear attack, Iran would have aimed its nuclear arsenal at Europe and the United States and the free world. It's disgraceful, therefore, but not unexpected, that the South African government came to Iran's defense, stating there was no imminent threat to Israel or the West from Iran. For a number of years, there have been concerns that the South African government has been providing diplomatic and related cover for Iran's nuclear weapons program. Such an allegation has even been made directly by the American government. The South African government statement has therefore undone what limited progress the country had made in finding common ground with the United States in pursuit of a trade and investment deal that South Africa's ailing economy sorely needs. We must hope that any actions now taken against South African officials, politicians, and other organizations implicated in aiding Iran does not cause ordinary South Africans to pay the price. And even those governments that have offered statements of support have left Israel largely on its own to eliminate the Iranian nuclear threat. Everyone knows that Iran must be disarmed, but none have had Israel's courage to do what must be done. But if they won't help, at the very least, they should express their gratitude to the brave government, soldiers, pilots, and people of Israel for what they are doing to make this world safe for everyone. Israel's brave soldiers and pilots have had to do the dangerous, daring work on their own without support of Allied armed forces, the work of disarming the murderous Iranian regime that threatens the entire region and the free world. As the book of Numbers says, Hein am levadad yishkon, behold, a nation that will dwell alone, and among the nations will not be reckoned. But in the most profound existential sense, we are never alone, because as the book of Psalms says, Hinei lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael, behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The events we are witnessing are of biblical proportions. A tiny nation on a sliver of land, outnumbered, surrounded by the darkest forces of barbarism, fighting its enemies on 7 fronts, while being vilified in the corridors of the so-called civilized world, and miraculously emerging victorious, battered and bruised, bleeding, yet victorious. You can see the hand of God in it all. Let us give thanks to Him for all the miracles of the survival of the Jewish state. Of course, these are difficult and dangerous days. Iran fights back by launching missiles at Israel's civilian centers, condemnation for which is, as expected, muted in the international media and community of nations. This war may continue for a protracted period of time, with great suffering and pain. And we know that the Iranian government is the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, and that they will be seeking Jewish targets all around the world. Jewish communities are in a heightened state of vigilance, including here in South Africa. And yet, in spite of these dangers and threats, in spite of the uncertainty that lies ahead, we live in a blessed era. For the first time in 2 millennia, God has blessed us with an independent Jewish state, with a formidable Jewish army that is able to launch a preemptive attack to prevent an attempted Holocaust against our people. For almost 2,000 years since the Roman Empire invaded Israel, sending us into exile, we were dispersed from country to country at the whim and mercy of host populations who persecuted us. Massacres, pogroms, expulsions. It happened in Spain, in North Africa, across Eastern Europe, culminating in the greatest horror of all, the Holocaust, when Nazi Germany sought to exterminate the Jewish people, and no nation came forward to save us. They even blocked Jewish immigration out of Germany. But today, thank God, we have a sovereign Jewish state and a Jewish army able to protect the Jewish people. And while we thank God, we also pray to God for the success of the brave soldiers and pilots of the IDF, for the safety of the resilient civilians of Israel who suffer the daily barrages of the Iranian regime. I ask you to join me in prayer in saying a chapter from Psalms that was composed by King David, one of the great leaders of Jewish history, who ruled a Jewish state in the land of Israel more than 3,000 years ago, who established Jerusalem as its eternal capital, and who, with the spirit of divine prophecy, composed the book of Psalms that have held the prayers and hopes and dreams of the Jewish people, and indeed of so many nations across the world. The words of Psalm 121 are well known. Let us pray together. Shir Lema'alot, Esa Enai El Heharim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. A song of ascents. I raise my eyes upon the mountains. From where will come my help? My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to falter. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, God, the guardian of Israel, neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protective shadow at your right hand. By day, the sun will not harm you, nor the moon by night. God will protect you from every evil. He will guard your soul. God will protect you as you go out and return from this time and forever. Adonai yishmor tzeitcha uvoecha me'ata ve'ad olam.